Hello and welcome to today's webinar. We're so excited to have you here today. I know we've got some folks that are going to be continuing to jump on. If you're like me, you're probably on back-to-back calls all day. So I totally understand that. Just let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you can hear me. I've been lucky enough to have a lot of audio issues lately, so that's been fun. But I'm excited that we're all here today and excited to get started. Okay, so before we dive in fully, let's go ahead and I want to kick off with just a couple of housekeeping items. Again, I know as everyone's sort of trickling in, going from one call to another, we're just going to give everyone a little bit of space to do that, but then I'm going to go over a couple of things that I just want everyone to know before we kick off. So before we get started, this is being recorded. So if you are worried about taking notes or grabbing screenshots, don't worry. We are going to take care of that for you. You'll get materials in your inbox soon after this, and it will include a copy of the slides as well as the recording itself. So no stress. This is going to be a fun slot of time for you. You're going to learn a lot of stuff, and you won't have to worry about a test later. So you'll be all right. And then just note that all of our webinar recordings can also easily be found on WordStream and Local IQ YouTube channels. So just navigate to YouTube, you'll type in Local IQ or WordStream, you'll click on one of our channels, and you'll be able to see all of our past webinar recordings right there. So if you want to catch up on something that we've done in the past, one of our older ones, or you can view this webinar later on today, you can find all of that there. Then the reason I am going to have y'all take a look at the question box, if you can find it, instead of a chat feature, we're going to be using a question box today. And so I want you to find that question box and let me know where you're calling in from. This is a fun thing that I like to do to get everybody warmed up. It helps everybody find the question box, but then it's also a lot of fun for me because what's really cool about these webinars is we have people from all over the country who are calling in at the same time to hear the same information for the betterment of their marketing or their business as a whole. So find that question box. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I am from Louisiana, if you couldn't tell. So it's really warm here today. So let's see where everybody else is calling in from. I see Kansas. I have family in Kansas. That's exciting. Tampa, Florida. I see multiple people from Florida, Colorado, Fort Worth. Hey, neighbor. That's a lot of fun. Ohio, Arizona. We have Bill from PA, Virginia. This is awesome. I love this mix. Nicaragua, man, way to make it international. Thank you so much. Ohio, more California, Illinois, Katy, Texas. I'm partial to that part of Texas. Daytona Beach, awesome. More Texas, more Ohio, more Florida. Florida's representing today. Tennessee, hey, New Orleans, good to have you here. Chicago, New York, awesome. I see Alberta. Welcome, Canada. This is great. Okay, keep typing in. Let me know where you're coming from. I wish that I could call out to everybody. But the reason that I have you do that is because I want you to feel comfortable typing your questions into that box because that's going to act like our chat feature for the day. And so you won't be able to speak back and forth with other participants, but that's how you'll be able to communicate with me. So just give me some grace if I miss a message from you as we're going through the webinar. We'll catch it at the end through our live Q&A. And then if you've attended any of our webinars in the past, you know our live Q&A is really cool. It's a unique experience. It's a chance for you to ask something that's specific for your business, but then also an opportunity for you to raise your hand and maybe speak with someone if you would like to get more in depth and more technical about what you've got going on. So be sure to save some questions at the end for our Q&A and just go ahead and keep talking to me through the question box. All right, before we go much further, I want to get us all on the same page around who Local IQ is. So some of you might already be working with us, and so you're familiar with us as Local IQ, or maybe you're familiar with us as Gannett, or maybe your local newspaper market. And then some of you may be completely new, and that's fine. And then we have a whole other group that are familiar with us through our thought leadership brand, WordStream by Local IQ. So how do we all fit together? Local IQ is how businesses like yours attract and retain the ideal customers. That's the easiest way to explain it. And we do that by getting you the inside track. We have an all-in-one digital platform that is informed by millions of campaigns that we've been running on it for over a decade. And then we have a personalized approach from local marketing experts that know your industry and they know your area. And then we get you a step ahead with lead management with the help of AI for faster follow-up and conversion. All right, so now that we all understand who Local IQ is, let's take a little deeper look. One thing that we're really proud of is that we are selected as a premier partner with all major advertising platforms. That includes Google, that includes Microsoft, Meta, and Yelp. And this isn't something that is just granted to any platform out there. It's really only given to businesses that display a clear campaign success for their customers. They display thought leadership within the field, so thanks WordStream. And then we meet a rigorous set of requirements for each individual platform. And we do all of this through a platform that you'll hear us refer to that a couple of times, but we pull insights from AI and then we plug in our solutions. We help you convert leads that come in from those solutions. And so you see that circle constantly turning. And then we help you grow your customer spend and retention by performance and campaign insights, precision audience targeting, and then we increase your ROI with higher quality leads. And so as we talk through some of these concepts, we'll refer back to different solutions that do that. And so it'll help you kind of plug and play and make some connections. And then lastly, a little bit about me. I will be your webinar host and facilitator today. My name is Katie, and here at Local IQ, I work closely with all of our teams for digital marketing. And for the last 10 plus years, I've worked in one capacity or another, equipping sales teams, agencies, and individual business owners with whatever they need to succeed. And again, if you couldn't tell by my accent, I am located in the southern US in Louisiana, but I like to joke, but not really, that I'm not in the fun part of Louisiana. So New Orleans, if you're calling in, that's the fun part. We all know that. I'm about 5 hours north, but hopefully I can bring the fun and still enjoy the weather. And then lastly, I just want to mention a couple of things that we get a ton of questions on. So where can you learn more about the topics that we cover here today? Well, this hour is going to fly by. We're going to cover a ton of information, and so you're probably going to have questions or want to dive deeper. So if you ever feel like you want to sit more with the topics that we cover today, or really any of the topics in our webinars, I highly recommend that you navigate to the Local IQ or WordStream websites. We cover everything in those webinars in depth over there on our blog, as well as on social media. Be sure to follow us. We share out notifications for future events like this. So if you want to join more webinars, definitely be sure to follow us and then turn on your post notifications. And then we also share out platform updates, interesting articles, and just other information that advertisers or marketers or business owners should be aware of. And so you can find both Local IQ and WordStream on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. All right, so everybody get back to that question box. If you've attended any of our past webinars, you know that I love to keep listeners on their toes around here. So to keep warming us up on today's topic, I'm going to hit you with a quick pop quiz. I want you to type into the question box and let me know, what do you think will be the most important for ranking in AI-driven search? So we know that AI is going to be changing the search landscape. We have seen it, we continue to see it, and then we're going to go over more of those updates in just a little bit. But for you, what do you think right now will be the most important for ranking? Do you think it would be website speed or maybe device responsiveness? Some other things to consider would be relevant or helpful content within your ads or your landing pages or your website. Is it reviews and trust signals? So those stars mean something. Or is it just local SEO, your listings, and just making sure that you're showing up and being relevant? So I'll call out some of the responses here. I just want to get a quick pulse on how everyone's feeling. All right, so I see, content. Nick, I think you might be onto something. We'll get to that in just a little bit. long tail keywords, Q&A formats, being relevant to the search question, and good content. Absolutely. I see some no ideas, or I don't know. You're in the right place. We'll help you out. We'll give you some context so that you can form that opinion. Let's see what else we've got. I see more content, content creation and organization, solutions that match the customer's needs, up-to-date information, structured data. Absolutely. We'll talk more about that. Site activity, continuous exposure, being a solid thought provider. Absolutely. That goes hand in hand with content, reviews, trust signals. Absolutely. Okay. Everybody's tracking. You're all on the right frame and on the right line of thinking, especially if you don't have an idea. We're going to help you there. Don't worry. I noticed a ton of different answers. I noticed a lot of the same answers, but maybe framed a little differently. And I think that that's because we're all coming to this from a different place. We're coming to this with the perspective that impacts our role or maybe our particular industry or business. And so we're going to go through a lot of different information today. We're going to go through a lot of topics. And so I want you to start thinking through, how you can apply this to your specific business or your unique situation. At the end of the day, everyone's going to have a little bit of a different application of what we go over, and that's okay. We're here to help if you have any questions. All right, so here's the lay of the land for the next 45 or so minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to go over something called Google Marketing Live, a recap. Then we're going to give you, what does this actually mean for you? Google can do its updates all day long, but what does this mean in real life? And then we're going to tell you how to take those updates and then adapt smarter and give you a checklist. And then we can start answering some of your questions. Okay, so first up, what is Google Marketing Live? If you have never heard of it, or if it's something new for you, it is Google's highly anticipated annual event that offers advertisers and really the world a look at the latest ad innovations across all of their solutions. So search, YouTube, and then anywhere else that Google touches, which means it's going to have an impact to your business. There's not a part of our businesses that aren't impacted by Google. So if they do an update, we know that we need to be there for it. And this year's event was, not surprisingly, as you can see on the screen, what we call an AI love fest. So we're going to dig a lot deeper into what that means. All right, 8 presenters announced more than 30 new and almost exclusively AI tools and features to help marketers create, serve, or measure their ads. And I was not in attendance, but even just trying to put a recap together for you guys, it's a whirlwind of announcements and information to wrap your head around. But really, we can sum it up in just a few points. So you didn't have to be there. We were there for you. Okay, so first, AI is king. We know that that's what's going to be taking over. Ads are going to now appear earlier in the funnel and in more places. So we'll talk a little bit about what that means. Creative and targeting are evolving so quickly. So when you guys were talking about content, that's where that fits in. Cross-channel marketing is a must-use strategy. So we're going to go into a lot more detail with what that is. And then shifts in creative expectations, and then keyword targeting. So if you guessed any of those things, you get a gold star. You were right in line. All right, so now what does it actually mean for you? Essentially, your paid media landscape is shifting. It's constantly shifting because that's the world that we live in. AI is not optional, it's mandatory, and a lot of times it's built into what you're already using and you don't even know it. So let's look at what these mean for you. What really has changed based off of Google's announcements? First, you're going to see AI influenced targeting and placements. So AI is going to have a lot more to do with where your ads show up and then who they show up to. But I think for everyone's betterment, it's going to let us be better at targeting your ads to the people that matter the most for you, your target audience. And then we see a shift in creative expectations. There's going to be this combination of visual and video, and then how to make that actually work for you. And then if you have not heard about PMax or Performance Max, We're going to talk about that today, but there's Performance Max and Search had a little bit of an overhaul. There's some new features and some new additives to it that can really help your business. And then always new tools for measurement and automation, because we're all really busy and anything that we can automate is going to make life a lot easier. So let's break these down. All right, first, several announcements highlighted Google's push for AI-powered discovery. So as many of the speakers put it, the goal is to turn a casual search experience into ads that don't interrupt, but really help your customers discover you. So along that theme, users are going to begin to see expanded ads in their AI overviews, and those ads are going to align with the educational nature of the result. That's why the content is going to be so important. So here's how it's going to work. Say someone searches for how to bring small dogs onto a flight. They'll see an AI overview with helpful tips and an ad for a dog carrier. So you've all seen it. It's like a summary. Maybe it highlights a couple of things that you need to know, but then there's going to be an ad that's relevant for what that casual search was like. So maybe I didn't even know I needed a dog carrier for this, but now I see an ad for this really fancy one, and that's what I want to go with. So likewise, users of Google's search newly released AI mode are going to see ads that pull commercial intent. That means people who are looking to buy from an educational query and then serve that ad as a match. So now ads appear directly in AI generated search results, and then AI mode shifts the ad visibly to early funnel experiences like that casual search experience. And then finally, conversational commerce in AI allows users to engage in a dialogue. Ads can be part of the conversation now, even allowing follow-up questions to the ad itself. So it's kind of crazy. So as you're wrapping your mind around that, what does that mean? Well, one, you're going to need to adapt your messaging for these new conversational ad formats. That's going to be crucial. As they're typing in conversations or questions like they're talking to a friend, your ads need to be able to adapt to that. Keyword targeting is really no longer enough. You are now bidding on intent and visibility. And then context is so important. And then your visibility is going to be harder to win. You can tell from this screen, those AI overviews take up a significant part of the screen, especially if you're on the phone. And so to get your ad at the top or in the right place as someone is searching, that's going to be crucial. So one route to handle this is to really focus on your online listings and SEO. I saw somebody mention that earlier in the question box. And the reason this is important is because you really want to ensure that you have an accurate local presence. AI is pulling from sources all over the place. So it's important to make sure that those sources about your business are actually correct. So another step you need to think through is that search is going to constantly evolve. Always. We talked about that a second ago. So it might be a good idea to start leveraging an AI-powered ad placement. And you can do that through direct platform advertising, or, for our customers, they've partnered with Local IQ to sort of take that lift off. So you're able to stay visible even when the search changes. And we know that that search landscape is going to constantly change. So our technology, if you're a customer of Local IQ, what we're doing is we're constantly optimizing not just what you say, but how and where your ad is placed within all of those dynamic contexts. And then it's adapting to those changes. So then you don't have to figure out how to. So as the search landscape changes, we've already integrated it into our technology. So it makes it a lot easier lift. Next up, AI hacks for search campaigns. What this is a collection of targeting and creative tools designed to help you address the more complex ways people search for things online. This is an asset and audience-driven campaign that doesn't rely on keywords. So while keywords are important, this is a portion of an update that isn't keyword specific. Instead, it's going to use your assets and then Google's understanding to deliver results. So what does this actually mean? To show up and then reach your ideal customer, you're going to need data. And then since this is a largely asset-driven approach, you're going to need better creative inputs, not just keywords. This includes things like your website, existing ad creatives, and then landing page copy. It's going to pull from all of that. And then stronger and more dynamic messaging means better performance since the setting leans on your already created assets. So there's a lot more emphasis on what that input is, and it carries a lot more weight because then that's how the rest of the ads in the campaign are going to adapt. And if your ads aren't flexible, dynamic, and relevant, they will never surface in this sort of world, in this new update. And you're going to get higher conversion rates by tailoring to match your audience and their goals. That's why that targeting piece is so important. So I think this can feel overwhelming because there's so much that needs to happen on the front end, and that can be overwhelming for someone who's wearing multiple hats, or maybe you're working with a lean team. I think what's important to remember here is that search is important, but it is only part of the customer's journey. A really great solution to collecting more data and then increasing your audience base is going to be a solution that takes in multiple advertising channels. For example, we have a solution that we call Brand Amplifier. And then some of you might even be running it. And it builds that hyper-targeted audience in the beginning based off of demographics, buying activity, interest, and some very granular behavioral demographics. And then it customizes the keywords and the search queries based on the industry and then the geographic market. And so if you have a larger approach to advertising, it's not just search, and then you're utilizing AI as part of that to optimize and move things around, then this isn't quite as scary of a world to live in. All right, so then let's see what's next. PMax. So for those of you not familiar, that is shorthand for Performance Max. Google now lets you see channel level reporting inside Performance Max. So what this means is you're going to see which of those advertising channels your customers are engaging on, so which ones are actually meaning the most for you, and then how that affects your conversion goals. So you're going to be able to see where you're actually getting leads and then which channels to invest more in. And then this isn't yet released, but it was announced. They are going to add a new brand exclusion and account level negative keywords to better reach net new users. So basically you can cut through the noise and any unwanted things to show up for, so you're just getting more bang for your buck. And then much like with AI Max that we just talked about, it requires really diverse creatives. Headlines, ad copy, CTA, all of that needs to be done, completed, ready to rock and roll at the front end for Performance Max to really kick off and then optimize. So when we talk about something like what Performance Max is doing with channel level and reporting, what this means is that enhanced reporting in general is going to give you a much smarter way to make budget decisions. We always say that reporting is sort of the underdog MVP. People don't pay it enough attention. They want to get the ads out there and the ads sort of take the spotlight, but the performance is seen in the reporting. So you can see how the ads are doing and where you need to move money around. And that is sort of the key takeaway from this update with PMax. But when you have that sort of insight and when you rely so heavily on reporting, that also comes the need for more monitoring, more optimization, and then you need to have more creative iteration. So PMax can be wonderful, but you just need to make sure that you have the ability to support that through your team or other things that you're using to get those ads up and running. The emphasis on negative keywords, like I said earlier, puts an emphasis on brand safety. So you're not showing up where you don't need to or alongside content that doesn't align with your business and your goals. And then as you probably feel, without some sort of expert navigation, PMax is either going to be your biggest asset, it's going to be the best opportunity for you, or it could be your biggest budget drain because maybe you're just not moving the pieces where they need to be, or those initial assets weren't created to optimize the way that you needed them to. So most business owners really don't have the time or the desire to sort of slice and dice through Performance Max data or consistently generate high enough quality, diverse content to feed this machine. And if that's you, And that's fine. That's probably most of us. Nobody really has time to do all of that. Then you're going to want to look at working with a partner or utilizing other softwares to sort of help automate or speed up some of those opportunities. For example, our reporting dashboard analyzes what works. Our technology is then going to optimize spend in real time across channels, and it's going to refresh creative automatically. And so those are the types of partnerships or softwares that you need to look at to help you make the most of an update like this, but also just the emphasis that it provides. Plus, tying in cross-channel systems, being able to bring in Google Ads, social, email, SMS to all create one seamless experience for your customers. That's what's going to be able to get you more leads and get the most out of what you're trying to do. And so that can be a lot to undertake. So that's when you need to start thinking of like additional opportunities and assets. So speaking of cross-channel, let's go to our next one. Google introduced the replacement of what some of you may have heard is the Power Pair. It unveiled last year the Power Pair. What it talked about this year is what's known as the Power Pack. This is a trio that includes PMax, AI Max for search, and then Demand Gen. And then the heart of this announcement, what it really points to is the need for a cross-channel strategy and being able to do that seamlessly. We talked about being able to advertise across these multiple channels and the need to meet your customer wherever they are. That's not easy to do. Full funnel engagement requires tight creative, especially if you're going to run something that requires creative being locked in at the very beginning. And then budget alignment before you get started is going to be really key. And so it's crucial to ensure that your business is in front of the right users at the right time, and then making sure that you have all of those pieces put together. And self-managing something like that, something that's really complex, it can be chaos. It can be a time management nightmare. Maybe it's your favorite thing in the world to do. And so that's why we need people like you in the world. Something else to consider with cross-channel is that valuable leads are going to come in. If you're doing it right, you're going to get those prospects coming in. But if you don't have a smart system to follow up with those leads, then you lose the potential of them just getting lost in the shuffle, and then they're not getting prioritized effectively. And so that's when good leads go cold, and then you miss those opportunities, and that's when you're not capitalizing on the ROI. And so what can really help hold it together is a lead management solution that helps you manage that from end to end. And so there's a lot of different options out there that help you. There's a ton of different CRMs or customer relationship management systems that can help you take your leads and continue to nurture them. For customers with local IQ, for example, we have something called Dash. And so this prioritizes the leads, and then it uses AI to tell you, which one's hot, which one maybe needs a little more time to warm up. It can record calls and transcribe them for you. And so it's those sorts of aids that make cross-channel marketing really effective. You can need it all day long, but if you can't execute on it well, I think that's when it becomes a burden. And so finding a system or a partner to do that is where you're going to make the most of something like this. And then it seems like video continues to be a bigger deal at Google every year. This year, YouTube advertising took up much more space in past events. Video's sort of been building in popularity and importance over the years, and this was sort of a pivotal moment for them. And so we saw new features like product carousels and then direct links. So think about Shopify. Those are transforming YouTube into a direct sales channel. So it's no longer passively influencing or just educating people. And so because of that, there's a much stronger emphasis from Google on being able to measure conversions directly from video content and not just brand awareness, which makes sense. If you're going to start putting money towards that, you want to make sure it's going to work. And so we'll now start seeing interactive video ads and shoppable shorts, which is a really smart addition, because since Google says about 45% of short users are not on TikTok, so you are able to take advantage of that audience in a different way. So you need to focus on quality inputs. I feel like a broken record a little bit this time around because a high quality landing page, really diverse and compelling creative assets, clear, measurable conversion goals, that's what's going to be super important for you throughout this. And if you're not wanting to sign up to be a graphic designer, I know we all have Canva pulled up.
Hey everyone, we're back online here. Thank you so much for waiting through that technical difficulty. Shout out to Katie, your former presenter and host. She lost her internet. We've all been there, and that is always a nightmare. So I'm glad we could work through it. My name is Susie. I'm the co-presenter that you're hearing right now, and we're going to pick right back up. We just have a couple more concepts to get through, and again, you'll get a copy of this presentation later on today. And you'll also be able to get the recording online. So if you want to see the whole presentation straight through, you can go ahead and look us up on YouTube, which is our topic we're going to cover right now, to get the full recording later. And you can just skip through the little pause moment we just had there to watch it straight through. But great, I'm seeing some responses in the question box right now. It looks like everyone is able to hear and also see my screen. But if you have any other questions or any other technical issues pop up, please just type into that question box so I can see it as we go. So I believe that we were just covering some of these other additional updates and new strategies coming through. So in terms of YouTube Shorts, and I'm not sure if anyone on this call has started trying YouTube Shorts or seen them in the wild, but as video continues to be a bigger deal at Google, YouTube advertising did take up much more space within the Google presentation as opposed to past Google events. So we saw new features like product carousels and direct links to like Shopify shops that are transforming YouTube into a direct sales channel. So you're actually able to make purchases directly from YouTube from the consumer standpoint. Now, because of that, there is a stronger emphasis from Google on driving measurable conversions directly from video content. So not just brand awareness is going to be the main focus on YouTube anymore. When you're running YouTube ads or creating content, creating ads on YouTube through the Google platform, you should also have in mind not just those like impressions or video view types of conversion actions in mind, but also start focusing more on the lower funnel conversion actions. Should be easier to complete through those channels. We've also seen interactive video ads now available and shoppable shorts. So again, shoppable, shorter for short form video content on YouTube. It's a great addition for advertisers since Google says that 45% of shorts users are actually not on TikTok. So I think a lot of people think that YouTube Shorts came up and it's not really viable compared to TikTok because it's almost like a complete copy of the same premise of what TikTok is. But there's actually a good chunk of people that are probably frequent YouTube users and never had a TikTok, especially because the demographics or typical user tends to be different between YouTube and TikTok. So it kind of makes sense that the people that are using YouTube Shorts are already not on TikTok. So what this means for business owners, advertisers, marketers alike is that you want to be focusing on high quality landing pages, diverse and compelling creative assets in your videos, and measurable conversion goals within your YouTube Shorts. Now, you don't have to be a video expert. We have our own creative consultants here at Look Like You that can help you create brand videos, social ads, display campaigns all through the YouTube channel through Google. Your Look Like You creative partner can make sure every creative lines up with your brand voice, your business goals, and what actually resonates with your audience, which we know is so important. Okay, so moving on here, and we're just going to keep rolling here. We do have a little pop quiz, so I do want to just quickly review who's still with me here. Tell me in that question box, which of the new Google updates do you want to try out first? Is it the ad placements and AI overviews? Is it AI mode? Is it the asset driven keyword search ads, not relying on keyword search ads with AI Max or AI Max for search? Is it Performance Max with its new channel reporting capabilities? A cross channel strategy like using something like Google's Power Pack or even lookalike use brand amplifier lead generator solutions? Or is it the YouTube ads and shorts that we just discussed? So I just want to hear, I know we had that little hiccup, but I would love to call out some of the answers in this question box here, what you're most excited for. Tons of responses already coming in, and thanks for participating in this. A lot of people are calling out AI Max and AI and search ads. Many are also calling out Performance Max, PMax, and okay, Sierra also called out YouTube ads and shorts. I like that. Trace also for YouTube ads and shorts. Chuck just saying AI in general, definitely seeing tons more AI. Melanie calling out that cross-channel strategy as well. Becca says, honestly, all of them sound exciting to use. Definitely. I agree with that. It's a really exciting time for the search ad landscape. I mean, I would say I've attended and seen all of Google's updates and events, including Google Marketing Live for the past few years. And I would say this Google Marketing Live was actually probably my best one to have watched and sat through. So I would say there are some really exciting, you know, chances to evolve your strategy there. So let's just talk about some quick, smart strategies to make sure that you're set up for success on the next steps following this webinar, right? So when you leave this webinar, here's kind of what I want you to walk away with, what I want you to keep in mind for your smarter strategy. So we have a quick and easy checklist. And again, you'll get a copy of these slides in your inbox later, and you can also find the recording on YouTube. But just a heads up that for your successful strategy on Google Ads and beyond, you can follow this quick and easy checklist. So having a cross-channel campaign, making sure that you're utilizing search, display, and search across multiple publishers, and making sure that you're running all throughout the year, having that always on strategy and not just only running search or only using your Facebook page to reach out to new prospects. If you were doing that, then you'd be missing out. Remember, it can be a lot to manage, but utilizing a marketing partner or, any resources available to train up your team can be helpful. Make sure that you're also getting organized. So with all of these awesome leads coming in, you'll need a lead management system to organize and prioritize when to help you follow up. Things like our SMS chat or voice agent are perfect for something like this. You'll also want to make sure that you're prioritizing brand safety. So that's another kind of point from this checklist that I wanted to call out. Things like negative keywords to make sure that you're showing up where you want to be, and understanding what data to feed into AI is also going to be important here. So making sure, we have talked about throughout this webinar, what Google is using already in terms of AI, like creating assets, using previous ads, landing pages, and performance data to input its own AI to evolve and to create things for you. So making sure that you're also using what you have at hand, your business's own first party data, and making sure your inputs are quality in order to get the quality output, right? So anything that you're like plugging into AI, like any output you're looking to get from AI is going to be dependent on what you provide it, right? So I always say when I'm writing about, AI prompts on the Google, on the WordStream and LookAliQ blogs, it's that the quality of the AI output is fully dependent on the quality of the prompt. Now, of course, in the Google Ads platform, there aren't like a lot of opportunities to put in like a custom AI prompt, but just still be thinking about that in the terms of like text that you give it, or audience signals that you upload, customers that you upload, images and video assets that you create, or even, logos, things like that, making sure those are clear and aligned with your brand. As far as budget allocation and automated bidding, you may need to reevaluate this, right? So regularly assess your budget and lean into automated bidding to maximize efficiency and impact. So whether you're using Google solutions directly or leveraging LookAliQ's AI, you want to make sure that you don't set it and forget it, right? Let's leave that for the rotisserie oven. Oh, I wish I could remember the name of that. I don't know if you all remember the old commercial for this like rotisserie oven back in the day, but it was like, and you set it and forget it. Leave that for that. when it comes to Google Ads, you cannot do that, unfortunately. So make sure that you're checking on those types of things regularly. Also, you want to make sure that your campaigns are built to perform across AI-driven placements like the AI overviews to show up and stay competitive. We did just recently release a ton of information on AI overviews in depth. We covered some statistics and facts about AI overviews that can help you prepare over on the WordStream blog, so definitely check that out. Also, make sure you keep your creative assets fresh and adaptable so AI can serve them in the right place at the right time. And of course, you're going to be prioritizing clean tracking and consistent reporting in 2025 because it can help you really understand what's working and where to optimize. And of course, last but definitely not least on this checklist here, remember that driving the lead is just the beginning. Strong follow-up and nurturing are keys to conversions that last, right? So we want to get those leads through the door, and we want to get those leads, but we also want to turn those leads into customers and loyal customers that refer to even other folks over to your business. So again, I know that was a ton of information, and even through all the hiccups, a lot to cover here. So I do just want to go ahead and I'm going to launch the poll here to make sure that if you have more questions, which I'm sure there are, you do have the chance to get those questions answered with a digital marketing personalized assessment with one of our experts at a later time. So if you have more questions, I'm seeing a lot of questions come in about specific industries, specific business scenarios. No two Google Ads accounts are alike. So if you do have some more questions, or just want an assessment, see where you're at when it comes to your digital advertising, we're going to leave this poll up on the screen. So I would definitely recommend opting into that. And with that, we're going to leave that running. So if you answer that poll, feel free to sit back and relax. Your work is done. And we're just going to let that hang out on the screen for a second. There's no more slides. But we are going to switch into the Q&A portion of the webinar. So if you haven't yet dropped in your questions, now is your chance. I'll give folks a minute here. Drop in any questions into that question box there for our Q&A session. So we are transitioning into the audio Q&A portion of the session. And I'll try and answer as many questions as I can. If you've attended any of our past webinars, you know our Q&A sessions at the end are a pretty unique experience because it's like you're getting your questions answered in what feels like a one-on-one setting. So I am seeing a lot of great questions come in, and I don't even know where to start, but I'll start with this one here from Pam. Where would you start if you've never placed ads before? This is a great question, right? So we know when we're sitting through these webinars, it's a lot of information, and everyone on this call is at a completely different part of their advertising journey. So some of you might be super advanced and just looking to shift or re-strategize or just scale up what you're already doing. And some of you might be totally new. And that's totally okay too. Everyone is going to be different. So if you've never placed ads before and you don't know where to start, this is a great question. I would say first off, it's totally okay. Don't let that intimidate you or scare you away from running digital ads. It's absolutely an essential to be marketing your business online through digital ads in 2025. So, I mean, basically every business out there is running ads, so you want to be doing that too. Oh, a few other questions coming in. So people are asking too, if you don't have ads running, can you opt in or want to get started? Can you still opt into this assessment? Yes, you absolutely can. So if you don't have ads running, but you still want to get started, this assessment that we have up on the screen as an option is an option for you too. So it's okay if you don't have ads. But going on here, I will say that if you've never run ads before and you're looking to get started and you're not sure how, I would say definitely start with maybe like a major platform like Google Ads, a staple platform, Google Ads, Meta Ads. Of course, we want to see paid ads coming through from other additional channels like Yelp ads or Reddit advertising, even other smaller advertising platforms down the line. But you really want to start with the most essential platforms first. So I would maybe start with just a few. Again, eventually you would like to evolve to be running as many ads as possible across as many platforms as possible. But if you're totally new and don't know where to start starting with search ads or social ads through Google or Meta is a great place to go. And again, using some of maybe even the new AI powered ad solutions that we covered in this webinar today could really help you get started, because the AI kind of takes some of that guesswork or heavy lifting out if you're totally new and still learning. Kristen asked a really good question. She asked, what's the appropriate monthly budget for local cross-channel marketing? Great question. And I'm sorry for a lot of these Q&A questions. There isn't a right or wrong or black and white answer here, right? So every business's monthly budget is going to look different. Of course, it's easy to say in digital advertising, yeah, the more money you dump into a campaign, obviously the better it's going to perform, but obviously that's not feasible, right? Like, we all have resources that we're trying to work with and set budgets that we're trying to work with. So every business's budget is going to be different. It depends on your size. It depends on your expectations too. If you are looking to get a ton of conversions every day, but that your average cost per click on platforms like Google Ads or Meta Ads is really high, then you're going to have that higher budget to meet those goals. So you just also want to be setting realistic goals for yourself first before you start thinking about budget, right? And then based on that, you can kind of adjust your budget accordingly. We have a ton of budgeting resources, and I think we even have, I want to say, a budget planning template on the Local IQ blog. So definitely check that out. WordStream and Local IQ blogs both have a ton of budget information for Google Ads and for marketing in general. I will say that typically we see anywhere from small businesses starting with their cross-channel marketing and advertising from $1,000 to $10,000 per month. And again, that will vary by size, by goal, by platform. But hopefully that gives you a little baseline. Typically, a campaign could start at maybe for a daily budget like $50 a day, right? So just kind of be thinking about those like small steps to your budget, your average cost per click, your daily budgets, and then have that roll up to an overall monthly budget. Great. Other questions coming in here. A lot of questions coming in about industry specific content. So what kind of creative works best for a certain type of industry? Great questions coming in for the industry specific stuff. But again, I will say that is going to depend here. Great questions. Oh, some folks are asking if any of the updates we covered are in the Google Skills Shop workshops. So the Google Skills Shop is regularly updated by Google based on the updates that it rolls out. But I think there is a little bit of a delay there, so it will be dependent on the time. I'm not positive that all of these are in Skillshop, but I would assume that they will all eventually be in Skillshop. Usually Google is pretty good at updating those. Matthew asked, are YouTube Shorts being done in a B2B environment? So for B2B businesses, could they take advantage of YouTube Shorts? I definitely have seen it, so I would say yes to that. A ton more questions coming in. I wish I could answer all of these. Thank you all for participating in this and in the Q&A portion here. Again, we do these webinars twice a month, so we have another one coming up in just a couple of weeks, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I'd love to see you all back. Thank you all so much for joining. I hope this was helpful. As you could tell, I could talk about this all day, but I do want to be mindful of the time here. And thank you everyone for hopping on. I hope you have a wonderful day and best of luck with your digital marketing.